I feel like we always do this where we talk before the podcast and then I'm like, wait. We got to like press record and bring the listeners in because we were doing our own little session before. But we have so much going on in December. And I feel like 2025 has just been this year where every time I get on the podcast with you, Marv, I'm going, oh God, what's coming next? Because it's just been one of those years where there's a lot of waves. And we were just talking about moving forward. Like we are really genuinely moving into this new paradigm where things are going to change. And we've been saying that for a while, but there's just new structures. Like we have been in the destroying part of it, and now things maybe are going to move into the rebuilding or unraveling some more. I don't know. That's why we're here to talk to you. So can you tell us what's coming up in December to wrap up
Well,
this year?
I think that we've all been swept along a little bit by the change um, in the president and the new reality that's being brought in and all those changes. And it's very hard to personalize these changes
Mm,
and swallow a lot of these changes. And I think that as we were talking about the 29 degrees of a 29-degree Scorpio new moon, that we're actually still operating on.
mhm.
Um, we talked about last month the courage to stand up for what you believe in. And I think that that's going to get more and more uh, powerful, stronger within each one of us individually, so that we now are moving more individually as self-realized people than moving forward in this collective drama
Mm,
we've been in. And that's what Scorpio is about, is discovering some of those things that um, that we've been trying to suppress or not be involved with, not talk about, not get in that polarity between political fractions and so forth, to where now we're going to come more into the strength of who we truly are within ourselves. And we'll be communicating that over the next month
mm.
as we move into the Pisces full moon and then the Sagittarius new moon at near the on the the 19th. And Sagittarius holds nothing back.
Oh
So
no.
what you
Yeah.
you are going to get exactly what they think.
Yeah.
So we're going to enter into um, discussions and reflections of what's going on for us and what's happening with other people, because we're going to get into direct discussion.
Mhm.
We're going to get into uh, just like we've been talking about. I want you to understand what I'm saying,
Yeah.
because I either want you to be with me or against me, but I want to know where we are in this polarity and how I'm processing that. So that's what's going to be important, especially in this Gemini full moon that's coming up in just a handful of days.
Yeah, it's
The
happening
fourth,
this week, right? Yeah, the 4th of
yeah, the
December.
fourth. And so we've got to learn to release the fear and control of being swept along by the macrocosm dynamic,
Mm,
humanity's dynamics we're all going through right now, whether it's the countries, whether it's this country and the political system. I mean, we've just been even not wanting to be swept along, we've been swept along. And
totally.
now, and now with the Saturn Neptune that's come in, we've got to realize we can't see everything. We don't know the truth. So there's no sense in trying to process and straighten it out from our perspective individually, because you can't. You don't know what's going on.
That's
And so,
interesting that that's what's happening. I mean, as they always say, as so above, or what is it, as above, so below, and all of the ways that astrology is always playing into our day to day lives is so true. And we just don't even realize it. Sometimes I tell you, like, I'm experiencing something, and then I talk to you, and I'm like, oh, well, this lines up perfectly. And this is one of those situations because I think so many of us have been so bombarded and overwhelmed with all the information, all the fighting, all of the like pick a side, my side is right, your side, that we're just tired, right? Like I just feel that where I'm
Oh,
like, I don't want to fight. I don't want to even know half of the stuff you're saying because tomorrow you're going to be saying something totally different because we're getting more information. And it just feels like that constantly now. Like you can't fully buy into anything because the information is unfolding slowly. So it's just sort of a sit back, take it in as you can sensation is what I feel. And then if I can't, I just worry about myself. Like I just don't have it in me all the time right now.
yeah. And I mean, that's kind of what Scorpio was saying this month as we're still operating off the new moon of Scorpio. Scorpio is about peeling the layers of onion
Yeah.
to get to the core. And we'll still be doing that even at the full moon, but the full moon is now going to illuminate that process. So we are certainly going to bump up against some people in
Hmm.
our authenticity that we had no clue that was going to affect people that way or impact people that way. Because the Gemini new moon is all about communication.
Okay. Let's talk about that a little bit. Tell us a little bit about this
Well,
full moon.
the impact of the full moon is really, I mean, for months I've been talking about intuition and feelings and your psychic um, experiences,
Yeah.
and of course, look at what the full moon degree is saying: acting on intuition and psychic flashes. We're all wanting to know what is our bottom line.
Mm.
What is the bottom line? And is this information that I'm receiving reliable? Can I believe in this?
Hmm.
Can I buy in this? It's like, for example, every time I, it's like reading the news now, there's all the time, there's an article about Social Security's changing, Social Security's
Hmm.
changing, Social
Hmm.
Security. I've heard it so much. And then I look into it to see what it is. And it's just one little fragment that's changing. And I'm saying, oh, that don't pertain to me. But yet the news media keeps bringing it up. And it's just,
Well, because they're doing clickbait, Marv. That's what we
I
call
know.
that.
And it's just, I mean,
They
you just
gotcha.
can't believe
They got
anything.
no, and the main thing I think is the new clickbait, the way that it's moved the last couple years, they've realized how much fear is the thing that gets the most clicks, right? And so
Yeah.
that is the thing being advertised so often, and we're being marketed with headlines. Like, I mean, I literally had headlines take me out in a certain phase of my life because they were talking about me in a way that wasn't true. And then if you read the article, it would say that. But nobody reads the articles. They just click on the fucking headline. And that's infuriating, and it's for what you're saying, it's they're tapping into the fear. That's what we've learned to do. So we really do have to use you have to use your critical thinking with everything coming at you these days.
Well, and look at that last line I had there in the new moon in Scorpio, which we're still operating on.
Okay.
Liberation from fear and control,
Oh, there you go.
releasing old trauma patterns.
Mhm.
Well, the trauma for me as a Social Security recipient would be, oh, they're screwing with my Social Security. Oh, they're going to take it away. Oh, they can't afford it. I mean, that's nothing but a bunch of fear and a bunch of crap.
Of
And
course.
so
But they're
I,
trying to mess with your security.
so the clickbait is okay, let me look at this article and see what they're saying because stuff is changing so fast, you don't know. And
Exactly.
so, I get to the point sometimes that, oh, that crap. There's nothing changing. I mean, I read an article this morning that said, well, in 2033, I said, are you kidding me? 8 years from now, you're making headlines for a change 8 years from now? You
Right.
got to be kidding me. So I look at that and say, okay, will you stop being triggered by this stupid headline? Because
Mhm.
they're stupid. They're false. They're lies.
And but you saying that is you saying, "I'm not gonna be controlled," too, at the same time.
Right.
because that's what it's
Right?
doing, right? If we let ourselves be controlled by fear, that's what's going to happen.
And the thing about this full moon in Gemini is, I think, this is, Gemini is usually an airy, playful kind of expression.
Yeah.
This Gemini moon is not going to be airy fairy.
Really? Because
This
that's what I
Gemini
assumed too.
moon is going to be much more of battling up against evil. And when I read that, I said, I can't say evil. So I put in immorality.
Okay.
So immorality is the way I would like to say it, because I don't like to just project evil. But there are a lot of things going on that's immoral. And I think that we all have to call it out. We all have to take a stand up against it. And so we also have to understand that this can be a very seductive power. It's just like I'm sucked in by the clickbait headlines. It's very seductive.
Which part?
Both the power.
Which part is very seductive, though?
Immoralities and headlines and
Got it.
the challenges to the what's going on in the world. What do you think that Putin is saying every time he says, "Oh, well, we're a nuclear power"? There ain't no chance in hell there's ever going to be a nuclear bomb drop. But I've heard a nuclear bomb over the last year about 100 times. Why? Because it's going to bring up fear, and it's a way to control and manipulate. And, for me, I mean, I just know that there's going to be no nuclear setup. Okay. And so it's the clickbait is seductive.
For sure.
It pulls us in.
On both sides. Because the reason the word immorality is tripping me up a little bit, if I'm being honest, I'm like, this is one of those words that everyone would have their interpretation of what that is. So how do we even see it the same? Or like, I know what you're saying because I know you and I know what that means to you. But like to some Joe Schmo walking down the street, could look at immorality as if you are gay or you're whatever. And like, I don't believe that. But do you know what I'm saying or getting to
Okay.
here?
So then let me try to clarify.
Okay.
Evil is when a person is doing it for self-aggrandizement.
Like dark motivation. Yeah. For selfish purpose, like self-centered.
That is evil.
Okay.
When we are accepting of humanity, that's morality. That's actually our job is to help advance the collective, help advance people, help advance life as a humanity. And I realized also I'm in the gym. Somebody said something about, "Oh, you're a socialist," and I said, "Wait a minute."
I love that you're
I'm not a
having these
socialist.
combos in the gym. You go way deeper than any gym conversations I'm ever having.
I realize from now on, I'm not a socialist. I'm a humanitarian.
100%.
I care about all of humanity. Am I having trouble with some of the things that's going on in our society and our culture? Yes.
Who
But
isn't?
yeah, how can you not?
Right.
But in the bottom line is I'm a humanitarian.
Yeah.
And when you read astrology, it ain't just for this, it's for the whole world. We're all growing as a collective, as a species. As we awaken, as self-realization and move towards that, we're all moving towards self-realization.
Right.
We're all moving towards a greater society as a whole, as a collective, as humanity. So I'm no longer a socialist. I'm a humanitarian.
I
that's
love that.
The way I want to label it.
Can there be a humanitarian party in politics? We need to label that. Let's TM in right
well,
now.
that, then all of a sudden we'd ruin it.
That's true. Somehow humans would find a way.
Yeah. And so I think that that's what we're going to do is start um, facing opposition
Okay.
because it's Gemini, it's communicating. So our passion is going to come out when we communicate.
Mm,
And I think that that's what this particular full moon is going to be about. So when you put the Scorpio new moon and the Gemini full moon together, yeah, I'm going to stand up for who I am. I'm not going to just sit here and listen to idle conversation and telling me,
hmm
um, you know, stuff that I don't believe in. I'm not going to be called a socialist. Well, you don't even probably know what a socialist is. Yes. And I'm not going to even stand for it. I mean, so
I
I
feel like
think,
I'm having this visual right now because, like, the combination of those two, I just keep seeing like Scorpio to me is always going into the depths, right? Like the things like we're going to
right,
uncover all the deep things. So, what you're saying, we're going to uncover the deep things we actually believe. And then this Gemini is bringing it up to the surface to where we're like, and I'm going to tell you what I think, and I'm not going to hide this part of me anymore and what I truly believe. Is that what's you're saying?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, think about it. I mean, Gemini uses words, messages, conversations, and a conscious evaluation to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? This is going to force conversations that has been avoided. So we're going to catch ourselves into conversations that may take some people aback. Maybe we'll be
Interesting.
thinking about.
Yeah.
I didn't know you believe that. I
Yeah.
didn't know you think like that.
Yeah.
It's just like our pre podcast conversation.
Mhm.
I mean, we're still straightening out shit we talked about.
We are really, really working hard at that one. I'm proud of
But
us for our effort, though.
yes, I mean, I think that it's very conducive to help understanding two sides. And I've come your way, you come my way,
For sure. Yeah.
and it ain't going to happen unless you have authentic communication. And
Agreed.
and I think that this is why it's so good. So yeah, we're going to have some avoidable conversations that we tried to avoid or tried not to say and you know um, say directly
Okay.
because maybe we thought it would hurt somebody. Maybe we thought because we thought that it wouldn't be heard, or maybe
Mhm.
because we wanted to avoid an argument. And I think that with Gemini and with Scorpio, you're not going to be able to avoid it because
Mm-mm.
you're just going to feel like you're not being you. You're not expressing yourself, you see?
I do
And I
see.
think that's very, very important. So we're going to be just like that Scorpio works beneath the surface. We're going to be expressing and exposing some of these issues beneath our surface
Okay.
and listening to conversations that are beneath other people's surface. And I think that this is what this Gemini uh, full moon is going to do. It's going to really bring forward the challenge of 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 maybe disagreements
Mm.
that it brings up. But in those disagreements, you come to a win-win conversation. And I think that that's what we're working. We're working on coming to win-win conversation.
I mean, that's
When
music to
you
my ears.
understand me and I understand you, it doesn't mean we have to use the exact verbiage. It
Right.
doesn't mean we have to say the exact same thing.
Even
I can,
believe the exact same things.
right, but
Yeah.
I can feel your honesty. I can
Mhm.
feel your understanding. I
Mhm.
can feel the trust that we can share and the care. And I think that that's what this Gemini full moon is kind of going to bring about.
I mean,
Um,
how long have we needed that in this world? That's very interesting. Yeah.
well, it's 29 degrees. That's what 29 degrees does.
Yeah.
And of course, so what it's going to ask us is what version of myself is real and what is a leftover story I've been telling myself. So we've got to get honest. And I'll give you an insight right now. You might as well get honest because we're going to have a new moon in Sagittarius, and that's hoof and mouth disease. You're going to say shit.
Yes.
You're going to say shit that's truthful to you, and it's going to fly right out of your mouth, and you're going to go, "Oh, did I just say that?"
It's so Sagittarius.
And that's what Sagittarius is all about. So
Yeah.
you might as well get real now in this full moon over the next 2 weeks. And and look, this is the truth. This is a very spiritually aligning moon.
Okay.
Your inner truth must watch your outer expression. So if you're not being completely honest, that's going to affect
Mm,
that's going to affect you. That you're going to recognize you're not being totally honest. Because if Scorpio is about anything, it's about them feeling when you're not totally honest.
mhm,
They can psychically connect that you're not being totally honest.
mhm.
And that's what drives them batshit or crazy is when somebody is saying something and they can feel that they're not being totally honest.
Right. But they're not getting
And
the
it's
full truth.
very
So,
Scorpio. And
mhm.
so we're going to recognize when we're not being completely honest in what we have to communicate.
I'm not mad at any of that. I feel like it's probably coming after a lot of deep dives that we've hopefully done on ourselves too with all these retrogrades. It was like everything was internal, right? And it was obviously being brought to the surface for us to heal and see and change anything that needed to be changed structure wise. But like now we have this where it's like, okay, so what did you learn during all that time?
And I'll give you a caution also.
Okay.
Acting on your intuition and psychic flashes, Jupiter's retrograde, which
Hmm.
means that isn't going to be easily the default way of operating.
Mm.
We have to we have to try to keep level with our emotionality
Hmm.
and listen and take that and process that feeling when we're listening if that is the truth. Not you see, when you get a good, strong psychic impression or a good, strong intuitive hit, that's not the process. That's coming direct from the soul.
Mm.
Why are you going to process that's coming direct from the soul? You're not. And so it's very important that we stay um, aware and in tune of how we're feeling and feeling that intuitive voice and listening to those intuitive voices. And feelings are going to work better for people that don't think themselves real psychic or real intuitive. They are, but they are blocking sometimes when they get too much emotion going in instead of just staying in neutral.
Mm.
So it's going to be very important to stay in neutral um, for these 2 weeks
Okay.
so that, we trust ourselves. We trust what we say. And that's another good thing to do when you get into that sad mood. Because you're going to say shit, then you think, oh, do I really think that?
So you're saying just trust what comes out of your mouth? That's
Trust
like the
what comes
truth?
out of tru- for the full moon, trust your feeling
Okay.
because that's your intuitive side. And for Sagittarius, which we can now move towards, well, we will as soon as I get through the energy patterns. But in Sagittarius, um, you're going to say stuff that is going to reflect who you authentically are.
Interesting.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's being honest. If there's anything positive about Sagittarius, it's being honest. And if you can't take honesty, well, then we don't have a relationship.
Right. It's not real anyway. All right. Well,
So
let's
the
move into
energy,
these energy patterns because I know we're
so
running out
the
of time a
energy
little bit.
we're struggling with is Mars and Saturn are going to square each other. So we're going to feel a little controlled and restricted.
Okay.
So don't hold on. If you got anger, count to 20. Work hard to release the anger as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Work hard to release blaming of others. You're blaming others for something that's going on inside of you. So if you're blaming, it's yours to learn.
Okay.
And then, of course, we got Uranus opposes Mercury. So we're going to bump up against a lot of eccentric thinking. People have got their own ideas, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Bring it on. We need some
Outside
new
of the box,
ideas up in this bitch. Let's
right?
go.
So as we get into Sagittarius at 29 degrees,
Yeah.
I love the part where it says, this is a new chapter of my spiritual mission begins now. Sagittarius represents the superconscious mind.
Right.
This is the most spiritual, mental sign in the zodiac. So your superconscious mind comes through in Sagittarius.
Okay.
And so we're building a new spiritual reality with the Sagittarius new moon coming up in December 19th. So we're connecting to some old soul contracts.
Mm.
And so the teachers, mentors, our tribes, our spiritual communities, global and cosmic, they're all going to be coming together. And so we need to release old spiritual dogma. There is no dogma. There is no set belief. I mean,
Yes.
there is something. There's no factuality in a belief.
Mm.
So we've got to understand. We need to try to let go of beliefs and open up to the eccentricity of mental and mind. Let it be. Let it come through. Sagittarius is uncompromising integrity of thought and action. You know, you remember that saying that used to be going around years ago, what you see is what you get.
Yes.
That's what this new moon in Sag is going to be
Very
about.
Sag. That's what I love about a Sag, though, is like it is what you see is definitely what you get, which is a beautiful quality in a lot of ways. It can be
Go
ahead.
That was Flip Wilson, wasn't it?
I don't know. Was it?
What you see is what you get. In the booth, the back, in the corner, in the dark. No.
Well, I mean, if it is, it is. But I like that. It is. Sagittarius is always interesting because the foot and mouth disease is real Sag. But I really do appreciate the part of a Sag that it just is what it is. I mean, there's no guessing with a Sag. It's right there. And that's beautiful.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are going to have to examine some of our own soul contracts.
Okay.
What have we contracted in our participation?
Okay.
What soul contracts are? Where do we find ourselves participating in life? And how are we participating? And how is it bumping up against a belief, a reality that we built, our thinking, our factual beliefs? So I think that it's very important. And of course, we got to be reminded that Saturn Neptune is still going on. So we're going to have difficulty trusting and seeing a reality that is outside of ourselves. So this is why the intuitive side and psychic side of who we are has got to be more dominant than trusting your eyesight, than trusting your ears, than
To trust your knowing.
You see.
Yeah.
Trust your gut.
Your gut. Okay.
Right. And so Saturn Neptune is also going to square the new moon.
Mm.
That's a strong week. So our
Yeah.
beliefs must evolve. All the old stories we told ourselves are not going to match our spiritual reality.
Mm.
And of course, a lot of times I tell people that, you have to live spiritual truths, universal consciousness. And then they say, well, where do you get it? Well, here's the answer pretty quick. The most definite is in nature. How does nature respond to life? That's universal truths, intuition, your soul. I was just doing some reading in a new book that I found um, that a good friend of mine gave me back in 1960 or 1975. And it talked about we are not responsible for our desires. We think we desire something, and that's coming from us. Desires are coming from the soul. The soul gives us our desire.
Right.
You don't question, why do I desire something? You desire it to experience,
Mm.
then evaluate your perception perspective of what you think about it.
I love
So
that. Yeah.
desires are a positive
Mm-hmm.
that you should do without trying to challenge
The wise. It just
why.
is. Yeah.
It
That's,
just is.
yeah.
And
That's,
so this is at the end of the year, at the end of the winter solstice comes in the 22nd. And so we're moving into a new paradigm, a new reality, a new truth, a new understanding
mm-hmm.
about you know some of the worn out, tired theories that we've had. So this is why we got to release everything that is not spiritually relevant and true to us.
Okay. I'm kind of into it. I'm like, let's wrap this shit up because it's been a mess, Like, I'm open to the new eccentric ideas and everyone really tapping into their own intuition and trusting themselves versus what we're fed constantly. Like, that sounds actually really nice to me. And if we're able to speak about it with each other and like hold space for other opinions, God, that would be, whew, chef's kiss to that for me.
Fabulous. Huh?
Yes, that sounds amazing. Well, Marv, I'm gonna put all
Well,
of
there you
Marv's
go.
yeah, I'm gonna put all of Marv's contact info. A great Christmas gift, if you guys are looking for, a fun, different, interesting Christmas gift, is to give a session with Marv to anyone in your life. I've done that multiple times. It's always well received. And it's just a fun, interesting thing. So I will put his contact info in the description of this podcast, a link to where you can find his book, and Marv will be back with us next year. I guess we won't see you anymore in 2025. How interesting for us.
Well, I'll be a year older, and I hope I'm a year wiser.
Oh, that's right. Well, happy early birthday. I totally forgot about that as well. Yes. Well, hopefully we're all a year wiser after this one.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening with us and being here. Hopefully your December of 2025 wrap up, you can be guided a little bit with what tools Marv just gave us. And Marv, thank you so much for everything you've given us this year and for this breakdown for December.
Thank you for the opportunity, Miss Kelly. I appreciate it. And I hope everyone has a wonderful, beautiful holiday. Make it happen.
Absolutely.
We're in charge.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good way to put it. We are in charge of our own lives. All right, you guys have a great full moon in Gemini and Godspeed with all of the December astrology. And we'll be back with you guys in January.